Okay, so here is your Unit 4 test review. I'm going to add some things to this as well and then there's a few just things that repeat. So I may not do absolutely everything, but enough to where you'll get the gist of what you should be doing, okay? So this first one, draw the Louis dot structures of these. So I've already given you the element symbol for each one. You're just drawing the dots around. So magnesium falls in the second family, the second group here. So it will have 2 valence electrons. Fluorine in the group 17 to halogen, so it should have 7 valence electrons. Oxygen is 6, and that's what it should look like. And then argon is a noble gas, so it will have a complete octet full of 8. Okay. The next one. So you're giving me the ion for the positive charge, so this is going to be all cations, and these are going to be all anions. We should be able to label those as well because these all form negative charges. These will all form positive charges, okay? So we start off going from name into formula, and then from formula back into the name. So here we go. So sodium iodide, sodium is Na+1. Iodide comes from iodine, okay? So this is a -1 because of where they fall in the periodic table and oxidation numbers. And so when you put them together, you cross those charges up, NaI. All right, so we come down here to number 7, barium sulfate. So barium is Ba, sulfate is SO4. How do I know that? From my polyatomic ion list. Okay, barium is +2, sulfate is -2. Once again, how do I know that? From my periodic table and chart. What do I do with those numbers? I cross them up. So now I get Ba2SO4 2, and then what I should see is that these 2's can cancel each other out into 1's, and so what I really should have is BaSO4. Okay, so this needs to be reduced, which is why it would be a wrong answer, into this. Next one, lithium is a +1. Sulfide is just sulfur. Okay, this ends in ide, so it'll be sulfur. 8, I knew that 8 comes from a polyatomic ion, that's why I went to my list. So sulfide is a -2, sulfur is a -2. When I put those together, I get Li, cross them down, I get Li2S. Okay. Next one, sodium hydroxide. Sodium is a +1. Hydroxide, now this is where there's an exception because I just said ides give me elements. Well, this ide is the exception because there is no hydrox element. Hydroxide is a polyatomic ion, and it is OH -1. When I cross those up, I get NaOH. Okay, ammonium chlorate. So ammonium is not an element, it is a polyatomic ion that looks like that. I got that from the list. Chlorate is, go to my list, chlorate is ClO3 with a -1 charge. When I cross those charges, I get NH4ClO3. Okay, the next one, zinc. Zinc is a part of the exception block right here. So 1, 2, 3, those are the charges, positives, because they're all cations, so zinc will have a +2 charge. Sulfate is SO4 again, -2, it's the same the one that's up here. When I cross those charges, I get ZnSO4 because those 2's will cancel each other out when they're crossed down. All right, the next one, iron 3. So this is a B block metal, iron. This 3 tells me what the charge of that iron is, so that's going to be a +3 there. Phosphate is PO3 with a -3 charge. All right, so again, when I cross those 3's down, they cancel each other out, so I get FePO3. Okay, next one, nickel 2. So nickel is Ni with a +2 charge. Hydroxide again is OH. All right, and in this example, you need to make sure that you put hydroxide in parentheses because when I cross this 2 down, it goes for both of them. So it should go on the outside of that parenthesis. Next one, copper 2 nitrate. So copper is Cu. CO is cobalt, so don't put CO, it's Cu. Copper 2, that has a +2 charge because of that Roman numeral, tells me it's +2. Nitrate is NO3 -1. Okay, and then over here when I cross these up once again, so just like this example, I need to make sure that that 2 goes on the outside of the parenthesis. Okay, so now we need to go from the formula into the name. So here I have copper, this is copper. Now here's where some problems start to come in. Some of you are going to want to put copper 2 or copper 3 or copper 1. Well, we don't know any of that yet until we do some work with this. Okay, I do know that it's copper, and I do know copper is a B block metal, so it's going to have a Roman numeral. And then carbonate, we just write down carbonate. Okay, so I know that copper is going to be my cation because it's a metal, and I know that carbonate is going to be my anion. All right, so carbonate, if I go to my list here, carbonate has a -2 charge. So I need to put that -2 charge right there. That's going to be important because when I cross this 2 subscript up into copper, or sorry, from copper into carbonate, does carbonate have a -2 charge? Well, if I look here, yes it does, which means when I cross this 1 back up into copper, it does have a +1 charge. So this +1 tells me that I need to put that in my Roman numeral, copper 1. Okay, the next one, magnesium 3 or Mg3P2. So I know that I have magnesium and phosphorus. Magnesium is an A block metal, so it does not need these Roman numerals that we've seen before. So it's just going to be magnesium. And now that this is just one phosphorus, this is phosphide, not phosphate or phosphite. Those are polyatomic ions. Phosphide is just P. So magnesium from our periodic table will always have a +2. Phosphorus will always have a -3. We also could have uncrossed those charges to figure that out. All right. The next one, we have aluminum here. And aluminum is a cation, and I know that nitrate is a polyatomic ion, so it's an anion, and it has a -1 charge. I get that from the periodic table list right here. And then also aluminum is a part of the exception block and will always have a +3 charge. So there we go. And I know that NO3 from my list is nitrate. And once again, no Roman numeral because it's a part of the exception block. Okay. The next one, I have sodium here and phosphate again. So I have phosphate there. I know that sodium is an A block metal, so it'll always have a +1 charge. Phosphate will always have a -3 charge. Okay. So I come over here, sodium. Sodium is A block, so no Roman numeral. And then I just write down phosphate. Okay.